This is Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox.
If you are looking and getting closer and closer to retirement and you'd like to sit down with somebody, you don't want to try to DIY your way through it. Like Jim said, Clint Black has a team around him. Tiger Woods has a swing coach. The best of the best still have that team around them. And if you're looking for that team when it comes to your financial planning, look no further than the team at Wadadley Financial Group. Folks, they're right here in your backyard. They're on the Space Coast, and they are just a phone call away. Again, 321-414-PLAN. That's 321-414-7526. So, Jim, I think back to my childhood, going back to school. We talked about it just a little while ago, and I always had to get a new pair of jeans, right? You had to get the new jeans, the new sneakers, right? You had to look good for the new school year, right? That's still a thing now for both of our kids.
Wait till your kids get a little bit older.
I know.
My daughter's jean style looks homeless, right? They're like super baggy. Like you borrowed your boyfriend's jeans that were like, got holes in them. I'm like, why are you wearing this stuff? But yes, the problem is you pay top dollar for ratty old baggy looking jeans. But yes, it is still the same. Remember the 501s? I'm older than you, but that was like the cool thing to button fly.
Yeah.
What a pain in the butt those. I got a pair of those a few years ago. I'm like, who does this? This sucks. Yeah. But yes. Jeans, yes, you're still chasing the coolest pair.
We really are. I remember those jeans when I was in high school, man. The baggier, the better. That look, I don't think is around anymore. But, these fashion statements and trends, they come and go. As I'm very quickly realizing now with a sixth grader, I learned that the hard way first day of school. That's a different story for a different radio show. But, Jim, to your point, Levi's has essentially dominated the jeans market for the better part of the last 70 years.
Wow.
Now, for the last couple of years, the iconic brand has been led by CEO Michelle Goss. Recently, NBC News sat down with her and asked her trick for keeping everything when it comes to her jean line on track.
I try to be pretty disciplined. I like to be a planner, but also make room for those spontaneous moments. One of the metaphors that we've embraced in the company is the telescope microscope, that you always have to be looking through the telescope, being clear on your long-range goals, but also tend to, as a retailer, what's happening right here and now in the microscope. So I actually have a little telescope microscope thing on my desk that reminds me to remember that you're constantly toggling between the microscope and telescope.
All right, so let me ask you, Jim, when it comes to that, that's a really interesting analogy, right? I thought that was really kind of fascinating to think about when you put it in those kinds of terms. But when it comes to retirement planning, when it comes to the microscope versus the telescope, how do you sort of balance out those long-term goals with those everyday, financial decisions that ultimately can have a big impact when it comes to retirement?
So I'm not going to lie to you. I'm stealing that. I'm going to find a place. I'm going to get a telescope and I'm going to get like a microscope. I think what a great, and never once. And again, pulling the curtain back, ladies, I didn't know what show we were doing until I sat down. Okay. So know that I had no idea we were talking about
first time for everything.
So
Jim.
We are all hearing this for the first time.
Yeah.
So I'm being real with you. I love it. What a great analogy for what we do, because everyone's focusing on, hey, I want income. I want, this when I retire. I want that. And that's a telescope view. But the reality is, if you don't have a good understanding of the microscope and what's in front of you and how you're spending the money and what risk you're taking and how taxes impact it, that's going to change the telescope view of it, right? Yeah. I mean, and when we say we already do this, I've just never thought of it visually like that, right? Yeah. Because one of the things we talk about is probability. Yes, Jim found a way to nerd this out really quickly, right? It's all about probability. If we continue on the path that we're on, we can generate X amount of income, and that income should last for a certain period of time, right? Mm-hmm. And we want those numbers to be as good as possible, right? If I can put together a plan that gives you more income that lasts longer, that's a win. If I have a plan that gives you less money and you have less money down the road, really dumb plan, let's not follow it, right? I mean, I've just simplified my entire almost 30-year career into 2 sentences, which isn't great, but that is kind of what we do. Yeah. Now, the analytics and the math behind it are where the challenges lie, right? Because we have to navigate markets, and look what happens when the FOMC makes a meeting and they don't change the rates yet. The markets go down like crazy afterwards because of some statements. And I promise you, we're going to discuss that next week, and we're going to talk more about the impact on the Fed rate or the Fed's comments and what that means for everybody. But the key here, the key to understand is it's these short-term decisions that have a long-term impact. So when we sit down with somebody, the very first thing we want to understand before this is going to shock you, Kevin. Before you tell us how much money you have, I want to know, what do you want? What does retirement look like for Kevin and Melissa? What income do you need? What do you like to do? How are you I have clients that are bougie. And I got clients that I got hit with a stick to spend $6, right? They're all types, right? Sure. We want to make sure that when we do planning, it's built around you and your vision of retirement. See, that's a huge problem. When I worked for literally, at the time, it was the first $1 trillion company, okay? The very first $1 trillion company, the largest company on the planet. It was a monster. When we sat down with people, bro, we didn't think about this stuff. We were just selling, sell, right? Oh, that's a good investment. It's been around for 20 years and averages 14%. Sell it, right? It was a cookie cutter. Kind of everybody did the same thing. Sell a return. That doesn't work. Look, you having all CDs may be beautiful for you at 2.5%. If you have $10 million because it works. But if you have $100,000, 2% just got not fun real fast, right? Yeah. Everybody has to have a customized plan that makes sense. And once we know what you want to do, then the next question is, okay, let's talk about how do you get your income? Because that's more important to me. What income's coming through the door? Do you have pensions? Of course, most people have Social Security. Do you have Social Security? When are you turning it on? How are we doing this? How does that work? Because that helps fill that gap of things that we need to accomplish those goals. You notice I have yet to ask you how much money you have?
Right.
Because you know what? I need to understand those two pieces first. And then you're going to have a shortfall. That shortfall is where the money you save matters. Let me say that again. Once we figure out what you want to do, we figure out all your income sources, pensions, Social Security, right? Anything that's guaranteed that's going to come through the door for you, right? Once we know that, we know there's going to be a shortfall. Once we know that shortfall, I need to know how much money you have. Once I know how much money you have, and I understand your risk tolerance, and I understand taxation, those three things, I'm able to fill this plan and make it work. It's a customized plan based on you. Now, largest firm on the planet is where I started my career at. Literally, it was like, hey, let's all of the investments with the best return. Not planning. Selling. A lot of people come through the door. Selling. That's what they got. Sold. Another annuity. Why do you have the annuity? I don't know, because I don't like the markets. Well, there's other ways to not be in the markets and not be in an annuity. Yeah, do you need income? I don't need no income. Why do you have an annuity that is all about income? I don't know. The guy told me this is what I need. That's selling. You got to have a game plan. You've got to have a plan built around your needs in retirement. It's so simple. It is so simple. The telescope is all of the things you want in retirement. The microscope is how do we make it happen, and can we do it without the fear of running out of money? That's the key. I always tell people, Kevin, I can tell you unequivocally, you and Melissa can retire today. I know that for a fact. I know that for an absolute fact. You and Melissa can say, we're done, we're retired. The problem that I don't know is how long. Right. You might be retired for a week.
One day.
Those bills come through the door, right. And you're like, well, that retirement didn't work, right? That's not what we want to do. When we step into retirement, we want to understand it, and we want to make sure that we can do the things we want to do. I am not always loved, and I am not always liked, and I'm good with both of those. Why? Because I'd rather you spend the extra year doing the right thing to improve your odds or your probability of enjoying retirement than jump early and make a mistake and 4 years, 5 years down the road, have to take a pay cut in retirement. Yeah. That's what we talk about. That's what separates us from so many other firms, is it's about that planning. I love it. I love the telescope and the microscope. I think it literally is the perfect thing to explain what we do. And the problem is most of you aren't even being sold the microscope or the telescope. You're being sold the cash register. Think about that first. What do I mean? Well, that means whatever product sounds good, it's the sizzling fajitas, right? Whatever the sexy thing is, let's sell it to you. I'm done trying to convince people to buy products. We buy solutions. We buy plans. We make sure that the plan that we have works for our family, that works for our goals, that works for the things that we want to accomplish. Products don't do that. Plans do. How we build the plan needs products, but most people don't have a plan. And I want you to think about this, because I want you to call me. I want you to call me, and I want you to remember my phone number, right? Because some of you guys are driving. You can't write stuff down. Bob, put the pen down. Don't wreck, okay? Don't do that, all right?
Yeah, 10
so
and
what
2.
did Jim do in his simpleton mind? He realized that everyone knows our area code is 321. Everybody. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is remember three numbers. 414. So it's 321-414-7526. But then you just go, Jim, you just screwed me up, because I'm not going to remember 7526. But wouldn't it be amazing if Jim, in his thinking, said, what happens if we created a number that spelled out the word plan? So if you call 321-414-7526 or 321-414-PLAN, because that's what those numbers spell out, we'll sit down with you. We'll navigate through these waters with you. We'll make sure that you're on track. We'll tell you if you're not. We'll help you make adjustments. We'll build that relationship. We'll help you make better decisions. And we'll be those people in the corner advocating and fighting and helping you make the decisions to get through retirement. Worst case scenario, you come through the door and find out your plan is already rock solid. And I'm going to tell you that because the math will tell you the story. Worst case scenario, you walk out the door knowing more than you did when you came through the door. Best case scenario, you come through here and go, my God, I'm glad we made those adjustments. That's what it's all about. My team is standing by. Pick up the phone. Give us a call. 321-414-7526. Again, 321-414-PLAN.
And keep that number handy, folks, as well. Let's see if you would like to attend one of Jim Fox's upcoming workshops. Again, August 26th and 27th. Also on September 9th and 10th, all 4 of those workshops taking place at River Rocks. As Jim mentioned, I've been there. I've attended. My wife and I had a great time. We enjoyed getting a chance to see one of those in person. 6 p.m., August 26th and 27th, also September 9th and 10th. For you, our radio listeners, we are holding spots at the front of the line. If you'd like to get on board, it all starts with one phone call. 321-414-7526. Again, 321-414-PLAN. Well, Jim, what a fun show it was, but I'm going to leave the floor all yours for the final word.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Well, guys, every week we say the same things. We know that you have tons of options when it comes to getting financial information. We're just honored to be one of those resources. So like Kevin said, if there's anything we can do for you, pick up the phone, give us a call. My team is standing by. But with all of that being said, on behalf of myself and Mr. Kevin Mack, I want to thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Financial Straight Talk.
Thanks for listening to Financial Straight Talk with Jim Fox. To learn more, visit getfst.com.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Wadadley Financial Group. Wadadley Financial Group is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Wadadley Financial Group are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Wadadley Financial Group is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any government agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Wadadley Financial Group.